Yeah, totally. I mean, see, Abrahamism, especially Islam, though, because the men in the Islamic world basically have gone insane because they can't handle their sexual power or their sexual energy. But they, instead of blaming themselves, they attack their own women with it. I mean, the perversion that has been perpetuated upon women in the name of God, I guess, is one of the most profane things that ever happened. Matter of fact, I just read a great book. I just finished it last night. It's called Secret of the Dark Stars by Anton Parks. And it basically is another version of the Anunnaki story, is basically what it is. And it begins the story with the creation of Enki. It's basically Enki, in this story, Enki was a clone, and he created Enlil. Enlil was actually a creation of Enki, a clone made by Enki, and then Enlil, it's the whole soap opera that goes along with it. But it's basically, another version of the Anunnaki story, which is a fascinating story because there's a lot of people who tell the story and they have their own spin on it, but this guy has his, and it's really fascinating. But it details specifically in this book is the betrayal of the feminine essence, basically, is what it is. And that's what Abrahamism is a result of. You don't want to say it's a cause of it, but it's sort of the result of that from higher, the people who seeded the life on this planet, basically, or at least altered it, we should say, because the story is that according to this guy, Anton Parks, that human beings existed here. Human beings were constructed by some other, creator entity, but long ago, but it wasn't them. And we were divine. We actually lived in the higher realms of divinity, above, the angelic realms, you could say. And then we fucking lived there. So humans were divine at their inception. And then when the Anunnaki, I still got to read the second book. I just read the first book, and the second book is actually called Eden. And that is going to pick up the Anunnaki story where most people pick it up from, like Sitchin. Sitchin's version begins with like the Anunnaki, I guess, their invasion of Earth or their whatever. But it's a really fascinating book. And the stories, a lot of people have versions of the story. There's a guy named Robert Morning Sky. His version has different but they're all basically the same. That's the thing. It's always about the queen of the reptilians. Like there's a queen of the reptilians, and she got fucking pissed off at her fucking people, and there was a big war and destruction and mayhem ensued and all that shit. And then there was, Dan Winter explains it, but Dan Winter likes, the reason I read this book by Anton Parks is because Dan Winter constantly refers to these books. That's why I got these books, because Dan Winter basically, his model is the Anton Parks model, basically. And he advocates Anton Parks' version of the story. I guess you could say that, because that's what it is. It's a version of a greater story. But it seems to be an important story about, the origins of humanity, or at least what happened to humanity on this planet, in that we have a gift. We have something that they don't, or they're losing the ability to be able to do, and that's a direct result of the understanding of what Dan Winter calls bliss, but what that really is a euphemism for is sexual ecstasy, transcendental sexual ecstasy, which starts a chain reaction of phase conjugation and impulsive bliss, is what he calls it. So, and then now this is getting into another area that I'm sort of working on right now, but it's the idea. I guess I can drop the scoop on this show. I guess I'll sort of drop the bomb here. It's about it's about my theory of how we would use the stars as stargates. A plausible way in physics of how we could use the stars as stargates, because the theory going around in various cultures is that the stars, the sun and the stars, are portals to other dimensions and actual stargates. And the plausible way that you could do that and still maintain the integrity of physics is what happens is you build a craft that can go into a star without burning up, okay? Now, one thing we have to understand, we have to preface this with, is that the quackademic version of star composition and functionality has been shown to be false. That's one thing that we have to get on the board right away. So the idea of a star being a thermonuclear generator is not the proper model, which has been proven to be false. And the theory that this works with is called the electric universe theory. And there's a great group called the Thunderbolts Projects that has been doing excellent work on this. A guy named Walt Thornhill is pioneering this understanding. Yeah, Walter Russell too, but there's also a guy named Wallace Thornhill who's alive today, who's spearheading the work now, and he has shown time and time again that we indeed live in a electric universe, and what connects the stars are these structures called Birkeland currents, and these have been shown to exist
in our body and the planet.
Yeah, but now one thing. Now, what you do to travel from star system to star system is you don't fly through space, because that would take forever. You would need to be immortal to do that. It would take so long. But what you do is you fly your spaceship into a portal, we'll say the sun in this case, and what happens is your physical body and the aircraft you were using are destroyed in that star. The matter that makes up your body is destroyed in that star. And what happens is it records the data that was your body, okay, and sends that data to the star system that you want to go to, and then the energy of that star reconstitutes the matter into an exact copy of the body that you had before. So what happens is your soul then in turn goes to reconnect with the new star, and you re-inhabit your body as it's being constructed again. It's sort of it's sort of a gigantic 3D printing operation is what happens. So the matter that was your body is destroyed in the star, that your beginning point star, and then your destination star uses the energy of the universe and recreates a new body for you with the copied data that was recorded in the destruction of your original body. Now, the idea is this is what happens with nature anyway. Now, this version is something that would be augmented by technology, okay? So how nature does it is nature does it by your parents have sex, and then they develop a fetus in the woman, and then your soul just uses that body to incarnate in, and then you're born to a woman, and that's how nature does it. But with the augmentation of technology, the energy of the star is used in a way that technology sort of speeds the process along, and it does so in a way where it just rebuilds your body the way it was. And so the matter of that's used in this great jump from star to star is actually all brand new matter. It's just a copy of what was destroyed in the dust in the source star, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, it makes but now this model, because you have to account for the matter of your body. You can't just say you're going to start teleporting all over the place. The matter that is your body has to be accounted for, and it can't just disappear. And because one of the things that people get hung up on is they're sitting in their comfortable chairs coming up with these crazy wormhole theories, not realizing that your body is a delicate, sensitive instrument, and if you fucking take it out of its environment, it's going to die. And all you have to do to prove this point to yourself is jump in the fucking ocean water when it's 40 degrees, and you're going to realize how important environmental temperature and pressures are to your body. So we're in a small little window, this sweet spot of temperature, pressure, and all these perfect conditions that this body has to thrive in. And you start taking your body out of this, it is going to fucking be in a world of pain and suffering real fast.
Right.
And you have to account, and you have to account for that physics in portal travel. So now the idea of jumping into a zero realm would be possible, but you still need to have a ship that has life-sustaining properties to do that. So yeah, maybe it is possible to jump into a zero dimension and just sort of rip a hole in another place and come out of it. Maybe that's possible, but the physics of your body have to be accounted for. So the spacecraft that you use has to be impenetrable to the forces of whatever that zero space would be. But if your physical body was in that, you would fucking be ripped to shreds instantly. So there has to be. And as a matter of fact, this idea came to me while reading this book, The Secrets of the Dark Stars, because they talked about using basically stargates in much the same manner as this. But the only thing is the stargates weren't stars. They were just portals that were just in various spots on the planet. But now, have you ever heard of the hollow Earth theory? Well, hollow Earth is 100% plausible and likely in electric universe. As a matter of fact, the planetary structures are likely hollow structures in EU. Yeah, one of the best examples that I've watched a video about is Jupiter. It's very likely that Jupiter is hollow, because the data of Jupiter, what quackademia says Jupiter has proven to be false. Same thing with Saturn and all the sun and stars, all of it. The quackademic perspective of astrophysics or theoretical physics is basically has been proven to be 100% a load of shit in almost every aspect. You're talking about this quasars, pulsars, the fucking black hole idea, all of it 100% nonsense. The idea of creating wormholes, like bending what they call space-time, the wormhole idea is fucking ridiculous, and it has no substance in reality whatsoever. It has no substance in physics whatsoever, because they talk about bending fucking space, okay? Where are the fulcrum? Where is the pressure exerted? How do you do that? What's going to be, how are you going to bend this fucking space? You're talking about a monumental fucking task here. How are you going to just do that? It's, these theories are ridiculous, and I call them quackademic fantasy porn, because a lot of them are just ridiculous, complete bullshit, complete nonsense. And the electric universe is blowing the doors off that. And there's one thing that that theory, the EU theory, sort of suggests without really suggesting it. It may suggest it. They may have said this, but what it means is that the universe is alive. The universe and the stars are alive. And this goes to stars, planetary, and intergalactic too. I mean, we see that in galaxy arms. They're basically gigantic fucking Birkeland currents that the energy is traveling down. And there's cords connecting all this shit, the planets, all of it, and even us as human beings. So when people say that we are stars, human beings, well, we are stars, and we are probably, if you were able to look at a plasma if you were to look at human beings, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually saw a Birkeland current coming into our bodies.
Yep. Going up and down the spine.
Going up and down the spine.
Right, exactly, right. Because, people talk about that, and you can definitely, people say that the root chakra is the root chakra, and I definitely believe that, because you can distinctly feel the energy coming into your body in your pelvic region. I mean, it is a tangible, real feeling, and you can feel it entering your body there. So, you're talking about auras. So, and one of the other postulations that I'm sort of making with this idea is that this nature uses the sun as stargates too, but what comes in through the sun is actually your plasma body, which would be your etheric body. Because people say in mythologies, there's the idea of a human being having three bodies: the physical body, the spirit body, and then the greater oversoul. Okay, well, the postulation with this is that your plasma body comes from the sun, or maybe even the core of the earth, if the hollow earth idea is true, and there really is a central sun, which is, there's people who have thrown out windows.
Negative and positive ions.
Negative and positive ions.
And sun.
Well, it wouldn't even be a case of like that fucking ion because it could be an ion if it's a charged particle.
Charged plasma.
An ion is just a charged particle. That's all it is. And so the same thing, the same Birkeland current that connects the sun also connects to planets in the solar system, and it's not a stretch of the imagination to have the idea of there being a central sun. Now, is there? Who knows? Maybe that could be bullshit. Who knows? But you do have guys like Walter Russell who have their Walter Russell is basically one of the pioneers of the early electrical universe, and now it's taken on a new life with guys like Wallace Thornhill and Dave Talbot. They're the guys who head the Thunderbolts project, and I watch all their videos all the time, and they consistently blow the doors off the quackademic myth of planetary formation, sun and star formation, and the ridiculous ideas that they come up with. And it really, like dark energy and dark matter, these are all fantasy concepts created by theoretical physicists who fucking basically masturbate with their own minds to come up with these ridiculous theories in an effort to prove that the world has no meaning. That's basically all they're trying to do. And as a matter of fact, I've said in videos, I call atheism the fourth branch of Abrahamism, and it actually corresponds to the elements. But I'm not going to get into that really right now because you can just watch that video, but it's called Atheism as the Fourth Branch or something like that. And it's basically the institutions, the institutional learning centers have long since been hijacked by the banking system, which means the Rothschilds, basically, in the matrix of controllers who control this world and want to keep us in the prison that they've successfully put us in. People like to speculate and think this is coming down the road. Fucking bullshit, man. This has happened. This has been going on for at least 2,000 years, if not 6,000 years. This control matrix, and it became prevalent. There is a strong demarc point with the onset of Abrahamism in the Roman Catholic, Christianity in the Roman Catholic Church is the Abrahamic roots of that are one and the same. Remember, the Jesuits were formed by a Jew. Never forget that. The Jesuits were formed by a forced Jewish convert. So that's all you need to know about the Jesuits. So because people like to think, it's the Catholic, it's not the Jews, it's the Catholics, and they're the same fucking entity, man. It's the same monster. It's all a hydra with different tentacles. That's it. Each head's going to look a little bit different, but the main body of it's the same, and it's that body is Abrahamism, and that body is designed to cut human beings off from their true source of Kundalini power, which is what our birthright is, to be able to channel this energy. So Kundalini awakening is what every young boy and girl should be taught in their youth, is how to awaken Kundalini. And if you can do that, the schism that has perverted the men especially, will fix itself. Because once a boy or a man doesn't have the addictive impulsive need to ejaculate, he's going to start treating women better. He's also going to realize that the happier your woman is, and he's also going to realize through nature that he is only a servant for the greater feminine. But that's not going to be negative. It's not going to be seen as a negative. It's going to be seen as an honor. It's going to be seen as a duty, a higher masculine duty to serve the greater feminine power. But it's going to be done so in a grateful way, not a subservient way, which is what Abrahamism has done to women, because Abrahamism subjugates women, and even to go so far as to purposely torture them to feed off their negative energy. I mean,
And that's Talmud.